This project or presentation is about where we're now at with the Guinness account. So traditionally in the UK, and the same would be true of Ireland, Guinness engenders a lot of sort of spiritual connection, in particular amongst our target audience, guys basically. Guys that, you know, like a bit of comradeship in a pub. They're very focused on sporting events, in particular rugby, but that's not to say they're not disinterested in football or cricket or motorsport. And Guinness is a sort of, not quite a, wouldn't call it a passage of rights, but it's certainly something that I think British, certainly Irish and certainly Western European men have crossed their lips with over some time, you know, in some way or form. When it comes to the relationship marketing program that we work on, the simplicity of it is we want people to feel that Guinness is facilitating their moment, it's part of their life. And in simple terms, it's when we send things to people, we want this sort of reaction. Hey, did you see that Guinness thing? Yeah, my mate was talking about that the other day. Now that could be a TV ad, it could be a promotion in the bar or the pub, or it could be the thing that we sent them, a physical mailing or an email or something like that. So that's pretty much what we like to focus on. But first of all, we need to sort of just quickly give you a potted history of Guinness for us. So in 2002, we became Guinness's customer relationship marketing agency in the UK, and we've had a great success with it. We've won awards, DMA awards. We've won gold. We've won gold at Cannes. We even won the Grand Prix at the DMA on the Guinness, the whole account, and the CRM account. It's also worth remembering that we've also done great things for the client as well. We've increased their share of throat, as they call it. Of the people that are on the CRM base, we've lifted their consumption of what was effectively 1 pint and taken it up to 1.5. I think sometimes we took it up as high as 1.7, so almost doubled the consumption. So far so good. But things change, you know, as you go through. Clients change, the marketing year changes, and in 2008, Guinness decided to put a lot of their funding back onto traditional marketing, above-the-line advertising, TV, poster, press, and also they decided to invest very, very heavily on some alignment of their global brand, and that obviously, as you can imagine, takes a lot of effort, you know, lots of investment, looking at logos, you know, should the bottle look like this, should the glass look like that, you know, and how are we going to roll that all out over the world. So basically what has happened there is the work that we do at TMW has sort of been sidelined down. But we soldiered on, and we tended to focus mainly on point of sale work for rugby associative events, so things like the Six Nations, what was the other thing, Richard? Six Nations?
Well, it's the league sponsorship.
Exactly, sorry, Premiership. Went past my lips there. So where the guys go into the pub, you know, we want to create that sort of buzz, and we want to create promotions, and we want to create lift at the point of sale. So we've been doing that fairly well, but pretty much the CRM is non-existent. And then down the pipeline, as with most drug-based products, unfortunately alcohol has suffered the same issues, in that down the pipeline there is going to be regulation that's going to restrict, if not eliminate, some forms of advertising. So for example, TV. So if you think about that, they've spent millions, literally almost hundreds of millions, on promoting Guinness on TV and above the line and through, you know, branding investment. And all of a sudden there's this sort of challenge that says that won't happen anymore. So Guinness quite clearly have thought, well, let's just start doing some more work on the CRM. Let's go back and see if we can re-engage customers there. Let's start doing it quickly as well, because otherwise we're going to lose them completely. So if you imagine this sort of conversation at the at head office back in London, Richard's on the phone. I've used Richard just for the sake of simplicity. Hi Richard, it's Paul Cornell, that's the client. Great news. Please do some more revenue-making, award-winning CRM. The bad news, you'll have to pitch for it. Bit of a kick in the teeth, actually. But you know, what do? You be professional. You just get on with it, don't you? I mean, and the thing to just note on this is that for us, it really did hurt, because that's really sort of it's a spiritual account for us. We've had it for what, almost 8 years, and we've done a lot with it. You know, we've won awards. People have made their careers on it at TMW. You know, people have come and gone, won awards, not just creatives, actual, you know, other people too. The client's been successful on it, whether despite all the brand advertising that they've done too. So, you know, there's a lot at stake for us. But just to help put it back into more context, good things come to those who wait was for some time, for quite a long time, their sort of positioning for the products. And what that meant was that if you've ever seen if you've ever had a Guinness poured in a pub, you'll know what I mean. You know, it takes forever. You know, it takes about, what is it, Michael? About a minute?
96 seconds.
96 seconds. So if you're thirsty and you're trying to get a rounding, it can be a bit of a problem. But therein lies the opportunity, because what has happened from that is that negative truth, perceived negative truth, is actually being turned into a positive, and that positive is to load that with anticipation and possibility. So while you're waiting for that pint, it's worth waiting for, and then that has transferred itself into things like sporting events. So, you know, the buzz of England, Ireland, you know, at Twickenham, and the day and the build-up, that anticipation works really sweetly with that type of proposition. And a little example of how that would manifest itself in TV would have been something like this. Oh, sound. Yes, please. Yeah, just. You got that there? Was it plugged in?
That's what he does. And I'll tell you what, tick followed tock, followed tick, followed tock, followed tick. Ahab says, I don't care who you are, here's to your dream. The old sailors return to the bar. Here's to you, Ahab. The fat drummer hit the beat with all his heart.
So that ad, very powerful. I mean, that is an award-winning, multinational award-winning advert. I think in about 5 years ago, that was voted the most popular advert of all time in the UK. But that's the sort of, those adverts don't come cheap. You know, they're very, very expensive, and that's just one of many. So where does that bring us today? What with the global branding, out of that has come a new proposition, because they felt that the anticipation, although it was very popular, actually needed a little bit more. It needed stimulating. So the new proposition is bring it to life. And that basically is to take the movement of the beer, that's the surge as it's settling, and to expand on that, and to take that concept and to apply it to the, you know, attribute it back into the environments that we're playing out in. So the action, the energy it creates is similar to anticipation, but it's actually more in the moment. It's enjoy it, you know, get that buzz from that surge. And this is the latest TV ad. Just that. Oops. Everybody seen this, by the way?
It's time to bring this place to life.
See the surge there washing away. Now, obviously, you know, that's a great ad. I do like that ad, and it's sort of an embodiment of communion, achievement, blokiness, refreshment. You know, bigger than life thoughts, and so that you'll probably see that potentially in your home countries if you ever get to see Guinness advertising. That could easily end up in your, you know, in your advertising spectrum. But of course, while all that was being done, and that ad I think cost about 16 million to do. It was filmed in New Zealand. It's like mega production. That's money that's come out of TMW's had a net effect on our CRM work. So while that's all very powerful, all we're doing is just doing point of sale work. So when we heard that thought about having to do the pitch, it was quite a challenge because we would have to work from that basis. So what do we do? You know, how do we do it? Well, at TMW we have a hardwired set of values that are part of our business that everyone sort of understands and enjoys. And I want to sort of show you what those values are because they're really pertinent to what happened next. So you think let's give a damn thought. This is actually in one of our creative offices. And when we had that news about the pitch, this was really important for us. Give a damn. To hell are we going to lose this account? We're going to do absolutely everything we can to keep it at TMW. You know, we're just not prepared to lose it. That was really an easy thought for us to latch on to, what with it being one of our values. So that was the start of the plan, really. Okay. The next thought was think bigger. There's Richard, in his office. This was an absolute must for us because, you know, we, like you guys, we're all creative, but we're thinking, you know, this is bringing it to life. This is a massive thought. We're absolutely going to, you know, we're going to have to really step up to the plate here and pull something off because if it comes to a pitch, everybody in town is going to want this piece of business. So we really have got to come up with big strategy, big ideas. Everything's got to super scale. But of course, for anyone that's worked on a pitch or anyone working on the presentations today, they know how stressful they can be. And so it's all great having these give a damn thoughts and thinking bigger. But there's a sacrifice potentially that could be coming up very quick. So one of our other values is to look after each other. You know, if we're going to now spend 2 months working our off to get this to keep this piece of business, we need to make sure that we don't have some casualties along the way, and that we all work together as a team and really, you know, look after each other, support each other. And also, one of our other things is do the right thing. You know, while we're on this journey and we're trying to do everything, you know, to win this piece of business, whether it's this pitch or even just day-to-day work, we want to make sure, are we doing it right? Let's not just plough ahead, you know, with the blinkers on and feel like we're all really busy. Let's just stop every now and again and say, hey, you know, is this right? You know, is this working for us? A good example of this was the pitch was actually broken into 2 stages. There was a first round with 4 agencies in, and then a second. We were one of the 4, and for us that was a really key part of the pitch, because we hadn't really engaged with the client at the CRM level. We had on the point of sale, but it was really small fry. So it was about engaging the client again, really getting them on our side. So one of the things that, in doing the right thing, given a damn, the account team came up with a great idea in having the first pitch at the client's favourite rugby pub, where they serve one of the best Guinnesses in London. And we timed it so that the pitch was actually mid to late afternoon. So when the pitch finished, there was a nice opportunity to have a little bit of rapport building and, a little round of drinks. And it was so successful, the client was still there with the agency crew at about 10 o'clock at night. So just these little things that you can put in, really, really quite important. And of course, while we're working away at this pitch, we want to make sure that we don't lose our sense of humour. We've enjoyed working on Guinness, and we want to keep enjoying it, and we want to enjoy the process. So one of our values at TMW is to smile, have some fun. It's hard work, but let's make sure we have some fun. So one of the thoughts this creative work that I'm going to whiz through, because there's a lot of it, is a mixture of the 2 pitches. I'll signal which is first or second. And by the way, on the pitch, after that first pitch, 2 agencies were knocked out. Agency Republic and Proximity, I believe. And that left us going head-to-head with the Irish agency, RMG Connect. So the stakes are really high, because, they're in Ireland, they know their Guinness, they're an excellent company, really put the pressure on us. One of the concepts that we came up with was the Great Guinness Guide, and this was a simple way to comment on when people go to the pub, they have a great, what it's like, you go to a great pub and if you drink Guinness, you have a Guinness and you think, it's not as good as where I usually go, And, or you're talking to your Guinness friends and they say, I know where the best Guinness pint is served. It's in, it's down Park Railway, near where the Guinness, or it's up in Dublin, or wherever it needs to be. So everybody thinks they know where the best place is to serve Guinness. So we thought we'd take that insight and actually build a massive engine that the CRM can use to actually spot and locate and comment on those places where the good Guinness is served. And then therefore other people can be drawn in. It can be used as a directory to sort of map out and look for these pubs. So if you want that Guinness night out with your mates, and you're sort of over there, or you might be on business or something, you can start to use it as a guide to click through and have a look. Obviously, the ubiquitous iPhone, we wanted to have a version there that people could use on the fly. There you can see it sort of being used. And it's got comments like, what the ambience of the pub is like, pool table, good food, Wi-Fi, all those sorts of things. And then you can sort of favourite it or like it, so you can add that comment data could go back into the site to populate it. We're even thinking about having live posters, some interactive posters that you can sort of drag around Minority Report style and sort of have a look and see where you are. Even branded cabs, so you could get in the cab, it's got a touch screen there, Great Guinness Guide. You can even help yourself to a Guinness on the way. This was the sort of wireframe that we used to sort of construct. And as you can see there, it's got a sort of Google Map facility where you can sort of drag around or put postcode entries in. And you can even categorise the pub, and you can see there's listings coming up. And this is the sort of thing we wanted it to look like. So fairly rich but robust. And you can see pictures of the pubs, and you can click on the pub, or you can get some other pubs near to it. There's some other detail on the bottom linking you back to other sites that Guinness own. More information. Now, one of the other problems we had was we hadn't done any CRM information or marketing for almost 3 years. So if you know what that's like in direct marketing, if you leave people alone for 3 years, all sorts of things can happen. You know, people have moved house, they've had children, they've left the country, they've changed their email addresses, all sorts of things have happened. You know, they've gone off beer, they've switched to wine, who knows. So if we're going to do a Great Guinness Guide, and we've got our base, our older base, we've got to go back to them and start picking them up, introducing them to this, but also asking those vital questions. So this was a postcard that we sent out asking this information. Who serves a Great Guinness near you? And this used smart print technology. That picture there, you are here, that would have been your postcode. And those 3 pubs there are pubs that are already on the Great Guinness Guide that are near to you. So you would have had affinity with them. You would have said, that Cabbage Patch, that's a brilliant pub. Yeah, they're absolutely right. But you might have thought, the Albany, oh, that's rubbish, you know. So it's trying to sort of get you to engage with commenting. There was an incentive on it just to get you to fill in that information, and then you can see how it sort of rolls out. Everyone knows a great pub, only you know the ones with great Guinness, so there's a bit of empathy there. And that's a requalification, so really important. We need to pick up again where they're at with their Guinness consumption, and also to ask them where they think their pub is. And there's a promotion built into that where they could win a great Guinness night at a pub of their choice. Rugby guys turn up and some lasses and some nice food, and it would all be great. A follow-up to that would be this postcard here. Now, if you've ever been to the UK, you'll see that they have these signs outside saying, when you leave the pub, please could you be quiet for the local neighbours and stuff like that. You know, have you ever seen those? Yeah. Well, we took a spin on that and personalised it, and it says, Paul's Local. Patrons are kindly reminded to recommend us in the Great Guinness Guide after leaving the premises. So it's in that sort of pub language. And on the back, just a quick update, because remember this is the second of I think 2 or 3.
That was sent to your old database from 3
Yes.
years previous.
Yes. Yeah. And then this third and final postcard was sent out with a bit of sort of future-paced thinking on it. And if you actually voted for your pub, you could win the chance to have your name actually sort of stamped on the plaque that actually signified the pub itself. Okay? A bit of fun there. Okay. Now obviously a lot's happened in 3 years as well. Social media, as we all know, is exploded. With Facebook, Twitter, and all the other opportunities and media channels. So obviously, this on people that have joined the Guinness page on Facebook. People are writing 24/7 about what they think about pubs and Guinness and football and rugby and everything else. Tesco are offering, so everyone's on the case. So we wanted to engage at the ECRM level, but also add some extra value. So here we had this thought called the 17th newsletter, and you can see it's just a break away from the actual Guinness logo. 17 is quite an important number for Guinness. It's part of the start date, 1759, and it's also St Patrick's Day happens on the 17th of March. So, and we would send this out on the 17th, so there was some sort of brand tie-in with that thought. And it's very simple, just there's no real design here, it's just the sort of ideas of the content. So we would have an interview with, say, Ronnie O'Sullivan, and get him to comment on his thoughts around snooker and Guinness, or it could be Paula Radcliffe, Jean-Claude Breton, he's the maitre d' in Ramsey restaurant. Okay, so just some ways of engaging customers. Another thought we had was to actually bring the pub to life. To actually just check that. To have what we called the Guinness guest landlord. And the thought on this was that we would get comedians to come in and become the landlord for the moments in that pub. And you could invite your mates round, and you could all have a great time drinking Guinness and a bit of banter, and get that sort of crack going. And if I play this, it sort of looks something like this. Oops.
No, the Chelsea Potters is awesome. Let's have a little look.
This was actually filmed as a dummy.
You've got to tell me more about this job. I don't know.
It's not cool.
It's not.
I know I've done a bit wrong. This guy's a famous comedian in the UK.
What are you doing up in your bedroom? I'm just that's what your nose. Got my nose and I've got a little mum out. Tell us about Tom's work. A little bit deformed. George Wally. So, I mean, is she surprisingly pretty for? Is that what you're saying?
That's just a head.
You're looking it's an emotional scar. Dude, I love your pointer finger. What's going on with your finger? Sort of,
So I don't know whether you understood or could hear all that, what was going on, but basically it allowed people to, gave people the chance to sort of get that happening between themselves and their friends. So it had a sort of cachet and a talkability and a social quality to it. And it's obviously very appropriate. It's set in a pub, it's communion, it's having fun, and the product is centre stage there. So this is how it, you can see there's like an itinerary there, and you can sort of decide who you wanted to bring to your local. And there's some Facebook activity. I'll whiz through these quite quickly because there's lots to do. Obviously, Guinness tend to pick up on seasonal events, and you can see this example is using Guinness tone of voice. Buy one Guinness this Valentine's and get a free half for the lady. Does anyone know who Jimmy Savile is? Okay. He's a sort of strange character from the UK, and he had this famous show in the 1970s and 80s where he would people would write in saying, "Please, Jim, could you fix it for me to go and see to meet George Best, for example?" And then he would go off and try and, if he thought it was a good thought, he'd sort of go off and surprise George Best, and he'd take the poor little kiddie with him, and they'd film it all, and then they'd take them back to the studio, and he'd sit in his chair and he'd present him with this medal. So we thought we'd have a spin on that for Guinness. Guinness will fix it for your birthday. And we'd use Jimmy Savile, and he's sitting there in his shiny tracksuit and his gold piping and serge pattern, and he's saying, "We're going to party like it's your birthday. We're going to sip Guinness like it's your birthday. Now then, now then, now then. When I was your age, I was something of an Adonis, surrounded by beautiful ladies, and not just in the top of the pop studio. He was also a DJ, by the way. But many men wish they had lustrous golden locks such as mine. And it's your birthday, and you put in your date onto this, and you can make such a wish. Just enter your wish into the entry field, and I shall try and bring it to life." He waits, and then a hand pops in, and Jimmy says, well, Jimmy waits for you to enter, and you wish, and you press send, whereupon a hand comes into frame and gives Jimmy a folded piece of paper. Now, I can't do that because we don't know what was in the thing. I'm not a magician, but we will pop it in here for safekeeping. And you never know, the good people at Guinness may pluck it at random and make your wish, as they say, come true. So this was like an interactive video that you could actually start to, have fun with and start to try and make dreams come true. In the meantime, have a free pint on me for taking part and celebrate the most fantastic day of the year. So this was a voucher. This ended in as some sort of voucher redemption for your birthday as a sort of, a reward for your advocacy. We're also thinking about doing personalised stunt posters, so we would take some people from the CRM and we'd actually have a poster very close to where they live and do something like that. So that would be quite a nice touch. Now, birthday is a special time, obviously, for drinking and meeting friends and going down to the pub. So we've always put a focus on birthdays for Guinness. You can see this email example here. It says, a good friend will wish you a happy birthday, but a true friend will buy you a Guinness. It's the sort of sentiment there that we've got there. And you click through, and what you'd have is this is a second email, and it says here, you know it's your birthday when you see a surge of comments on your wall. So apologies if I'm skipping around, because a lot of these ideas are all sort of mixed in. And this idea is based on Facebook, where you know what it's like for those that have got Facebook accounts. When it is your birthday, hopefully all your friends wish you a happy birthday, so you sort of know what's going on. And this example here, so this email is just full of sort of fake. Whoops. I'll go back to that. It's got sort of fake names on it that just sort of scroll down, and they're all wishing you a happy birthday, the sort of thing that you'd like to, end up receiving. Birthday wishes over Facebook, good, but birthday wishes over a pint of Guinness, great. Bring your birthday to life with our Facebook application. And then basically there's an application that you can add on to your Facebook, and what it would do is it would sort of Guinnessize your Facebook page, bring my birthday to life, and what it does is it automatically adds in some pretext that we've defined already from Guinness. So it says Paul Cornell, and it would say, it's my birthday, tonight I'm going to party like it's 1759. And there would be a range of those that would just get rotated through the day until you decide to override it and tap in as per normal. Okay? And then you can see all the banter and everything else that then happens subsequent off of the back of that. Toast my birthday with a clink, not a click, because you know what it's like on Facebook. Everyone says happy birthday, but you'd much rather see them in person if you can. So here the sentiment is toast my birthday with a clink, not just a click, tonight at the pub that you've decided to take part. And there you go. We said think bigger at the start, and one of the things we did in the first pitch was to really try and go totally out there. The brief, we couldn't afford to wait for the brief in the pitch scenario. We just set the task and said, guys, just really go for it. Have big events. Let's get people really excited about Guinness. There's nothing to lose here. And this thought here was called the Guinness Project. And in London, there's a couple of these sort of buildings that are derelict. There's one in particular in South London. And the idea was to bring to life a derelict building and create a unique late-night Guinness bar and performance space. So this is a sort of build-up, around the local environment. We'd be doing these. Have you ever seen these sort of jet wash graphics that you can sort of spray onto buildings and they just clear the dirt and they leave like a stencil? So we could do some sort of guerrilla activity like that. So people were asked to text to actually participate and find out more. And then they could map that out and sort of work out in a sort of discovery way to find out where the location could be, because we wanted to keep it a little bit secret. Here's just an idea of the actual event, and if you can read that, it says, and if that, hard hats must be wore at all time, and if that makes you think of dodgy warehouse raves in the 80s, then think again, because the Guinness Project is a lineup of big-name DJ bands, performance artists, and will take up residency in a secret South London location. We're inviting you to an exclusive private view before the launch night on 10th of October as we transform the derelict building and bring the Guinness Project to life. So we're trying to get people really excited about this and then spill it out into the social space and get people really excited about it. And in doing so, everybody else can hear about it and get sort of caught up in it too. We'd like to think that bloggers would pick it up and start to talk about it in their own way. And then on the actual, the idea would be that we would use some projection onto the building itself of a pint in motion, so you can start to see the surge actually moving onto the side of the building. And we want it to be fairly modern. We don't want it to be too caught up in the traditional Guinness, like rugger buggers, or sort of getting drunk. There's a new type of audience out there now, a little bit more sophisticated, as well as the old. Sorry. So it's going to be a funky, happening event. Okay, so we really like this idea in the pitch of really, you know, opening our mind and really going for it, because, you know, we had everything to lose and nothing to gain potentially. In particular, we also knew that the funding for whatever the CRM would become would be even more than we'd ever had. So, you know, we really had to go for it. So this next idea was sort of pretty spectacular, really. And if I've got it right, I should be able to play it for you. Pretty spectacular, eh? Wouldn't that be great to do? So yeah, the concept of Guinness Island. So this is a, you know, if they can spend 16 million on a TV ad, let's spend 6 million on creating a location that's hardwired into the, you know, going forward into the future, where people can get to and experience Guinness in a totally new way. So we're thinking about, you know, if this was to be built, you know, it'd be a massive, quite a consultation. You know, it would have to use environment-friendly products and buildings and architects. You know, we couldn't just knock this up out of some porter cabins. It would have to be done properly. Yeah, so bring Tristan da Cunha to life. You can see there, it would, in the build-up and the run-up, there's obviously lots of opportunities for people to talk about it, to blog about it, to pass it on, to viral it out. You know, the excitement that this can generate. We can't just launch this on people. We want people to go with the journey and to really create that sense of anticipation. On packaging, the point of sale, obviously we can carry that through, so it's an integrated campaign. Obviously, Facebook is where people live, and we can start to talk about it there too. Is a Guinness Island pub worthy of the name of your local? So if you imagine that, it could be called the Dog and Duck, right out in the Pacific. That would be fantastic. And what bands do you want to play? So we really want to get people talking about it, involved in it, getting active about it. You can see some of the sort of things that you'd expect to generate out of that. So yeah, really big idea. That was in phase 1 of the pitch. As you can expect, it was too much for them. And but nonetheless, I think what it did is it showed them a thought from our perspective that they hadn't seen before of what we could do. You know, the thinking, the quality of the idea generation, and the passion for the brand, and how we could take the bring it to life concept into other areas. Guinness Christmas, again, it's traditional. Traditionally, you would always have mailings at Christmas or emails at Christmas. Christmas is a time of, you know, social events and consumption of Guinness, so it's always been a good place to talk to our audience. This was done as a mailing. Well, interestingly enough, on the first pitch, we put a lot of emphasis on digital social media, and one of the feedbacks that came back was, "Where's the print, guys? You know, don't forget. You know, some of these guys are a bit more traditional, and they're used to getting stuff through the post. So, in your round 2, let's just make sure you've got some of that as well." So this thought here came from round 2. Guinness at Christmas. That's music to your ears. And this was a mailing with a little sort of die-cut collar device there. Conduct the proceedings this festive season. And what we found in the past with Christmas mailings is the drinker loves the idea of being at the centre of attention and commanding an audience and actually being the facilitator for fun and engagement. So this idea sort of takes that, embraces that totally. And the thought here, it's personalised on the inside. Paul, get together with your friends this Christmas and set up a festive philharmonic. And the idea is that we send them like a chopstick. And it's like a little baton. And printed on the side of the chopstick, it says, "A Merry Christmas from Guinness," and there's some little lines on it. And just to the side there is a tune, Jingle Bells. And you can see there that it's got the letters, the notes, and also the music underneath it. And the idea is that you have this card in there, and with your friends you set up at home or in the pub, you get a round of Guinness, and then using the measure of the baton, you pour gently the Guinness into the glass. Okay? And then each person can have a name on the. You can put a sticker or name on the actual pint itself. So this is how it works. But we thought we'd film that for the kids rather than set it up just in case it went wrong. And then the other idea on YouTube was, hopefully I'll get a link. Okay. All right, don't mind. You saw with the pints that just got different values, and the idea was that you could play it as one pass, and you could watch it and it would play the tune, Jingle Bells. But the clever bit was that we, has anybody seen or aware of annotated YouTube videos, where you're able to embed a overlay, like a little square or a map, or it can even be a visual, or it can be invisible. And the idea is that you can actually, with your mouse, you can touch the pint, and all it does is it plays it back to the next part of the video. So you can actually play Jingle Bells through YouTube by clicking on the actual pints. And I'll forward it round, and so you can have a little go. But it's quite an interesting technique. Now, obviously, rugby is at the heart of Guinness, and communion and anticipation and sporting event and excitement. So, obviously we were going to look at that too. One thing, Guinness, obviously in the UK, it's, as Michael will probably testify, the passion of rugby and the Six Nations and the internationals of Ireland and Wales and Scotland and England and France and Italy, they're absolutely embedded in history, about the, who's won, the passion behind it, and the occasion. So one thought we wanted to do was to absolutely focus on the Six Nations event. That it's the last great home of the nations' rivalry, in particular in the UK.
Come on, Aaron.
Yeah. And the insight here is that in marketing speak, there's sort of two types, or two primary types of Guinness drinker. There's an adorer and an advocate. And adorers are people that love it, but the advocates just go beyond themselves to tell everybody about it. And it was to try and convince them that the last bastion of home nations rivalry can be made even more positive, a more positive event, with a chance to recreate at home the pub or rugby club, the crucial atmosphere needed to enjoy a game of rugby. So we created this concept called the Six Nations Turf Wars. Okay? And on Facebook, we would publish it. We would raid the videos of the Six Nations archives and we dug out this bone-crunching tackle or hit by Mike Tyndall, who's a famous rugby player, for those that know or don't know. Are there any other famous rib breakers you can remember? So we're asking people to start to interact and vote and suggest, so we create that sort of swell. Settle old scores once and for all. Vote for the hardest Six Nations tackle from our gallery of fierce hits. So we're using, you know, that passion and that sort of historic knowledge to create a sense of swell and excitement around the product. This is just details of players and stats. The other thing is, of course, you know, it goes without saying that when, you know, if you're down the pub or even at a sporting event, you know, you're going to get behind your nation. You're going to actually start to sing and shout and spur them on. And who, you know, Guinness is part of that too. So we're thinking of doing things around in sporting events or pubs where, you know, if you're walking past with an enabled phone, we wanted this idea of who's the noisiest nation. And there you can see there's like a QR code but done as a visual that you could photograph. And you can actually upload your raw and win a hospitality box for you and 10 mates. So some fun stuff there. Who's the noisiest nation? So you can start seeing now this is on Facebook or microsite and these things have been uploaded and you've got people have submitted videos and the number and you can go through and look at them and you can vote again. So it's trying to get, you know, people really excited about this run up to the actual games themselves. Another thought we had was using some mobile technology is that you could pick up on your GPS, where are the pubs where all the Scotland fans are, or the Irish fans, or the English fans. And by people interacting on site, you can actually find out, well, should we go in this pub? Well, it's a bit Scottish, let's not go. We go to this one instead. And some other fun. People in the social media or the sort of viral context, people love content that they can have fun with and pass on quickly. So here we created an idea where it was called Battle Scars. So you could take your photograph and then you could put it in your team colours and then you could just, as you see, sort of like attribute bruises and cauliflower ears and scars and scratches, and then obviously you can send that on to your mates and have some fun. This one was using the actual phone itself, the accelerometer, so you could start to, there was a visual there of a scrum, and then you could play with it on your iPhone and you could start to get the scrum to push one way or the other way, so you can have some fun with that. I won't and then also you need some proper content. So here you can see a website where we wanted to own sort of the official beer for Six Nations, and you can see there's sections there for turf wars and other things and bits and bobs. I won't stop on these because there's quite a bit still to go. Specifically, we also wanted to create a site called Guinness Rugby Football Club, the home of rugby, where people can really get into their rugby language and find out the news and everything. So it was like a sort of portal really for everything that was rugby. There you go, you can see some content there. Some more. And another thought we had was to sort of reach out into the community and talk to those people that, you know, perhaps played rugby in the past, or, you know, they're playing rugby and it's a bit of a Sunday pub event, and yeah, let's see if we can bring back the glory days for their club. You know, bring them back into their prime. You know, there's a lot of rugby players that are wobbling around on a Sunday morning of about 40 years of age that you know, can remember the glory days, and we thought let's see if we can get those guys to interact with us and have some fun, but also like help them out. Let's tart their club room up. You know, let's go down on that Sunday after the game and let's make it a real good fun occasion for them when they have their post-match drinks. So yeah, a little bit of fun there. Here's some more, coming to the end now. This is a DM pack for to support the Six Nations push. Paul, make some noise for your team and bring the Six Nations to life. So just, this is the print version, and the idea is that you can see there's a card which actually you roll up and tag together and it becomes a loud hailer. So there it is. And then there's a sticker sheet in there that you can actually, you know, assign your chosen country to it. And also some point of sale where we would, you can see there's a plastic widget in there, and that basically is, you can put it into the top of the Guinness pint and just, you know, push it in the cream, and then you can leave your England Rose or your Scotland Thistle or your Welsh Dragon into the pint while you're having some fun. And then you can unpack the packaging itself and recreate your home stadium so that you can put all your pints on the pitch and have a bit of fun at home. It's drinking at home, this is. And there's the other thought we had was wanted to find ex-rugby players, an Englishman, Scotsman, Irishman, a Welshman, and basically have them come together around the period of the games and sort of tour Britain and pubs and sort of comment in a sort of pundit style, you know, about what they thought of players, games, matches, managers, fans, and then we'd film them as little video blogs and then sort of upload it to the site so people can actually, you know, there's another point of interest and another reason to comment. Straightforward promotions. This is an email version. So you could win the Grand Slam of all tickets. You could just win all 6 games or 5 games. And most importantly, I want to sort of end on this because, as you can see, we've had great fun doing that. You know, we couldn't have done that if we hadn't have kept smiling all along the way. You know, this was a big pitch for us, and I'm pleased to say we won it. So hopefully some of that work will come off. I'm not sure about the Guinness Island, but I think you know, there's plenty there to take us into the next decade. Thank you very much.
We still have this little present for you. A lot of you forgot it yesterday. We will put it on a table here. So please take it with you, especially because there's a Heineken beer in it. Sorry, Guinness. Now, looking at the program, in this room, the workshop continues. The workshop groups